And FBI Director Kash Patel is about to face some tough questions when he testifies this week on Capitol Hill after some mistakes in his handling of Charlie Kirk's assassination investigation. Conservative activist Chris Rufo posted this. It's time for Republicans to assess whether Patel is the right man to run the FBI, adding that he performed terribly in the last few days. So Patel prematurely announced the suspect was in custody. He also appeared to take credit for the FBI's release of images that ultimately led to the suspect's arrest. Here's how Utah Governor Spencer Cox sees it.
Hi, family. Sarah here. The man Donald Trump personally installed at the FBI to be his ultimate protector is now staring at the real possibility of handcuffs and a federal holding cell. Day 2 of Kash Patel's Senate Judiciary testimony just produced a series of explosive revelations that have shattered whatever remained of his credibility and triggered an unmistakable signal from the presiding judge that arrest may be imminent.
This was a co-lead operation. So the FBI was co-lead with the state. We worked very closely together. I think Director Patel would tell you it was flawless. It was everybody just trying to decide, is this a good idea? The reasons to release it, I think, are pretty obvious, right? It makes it easier for lots of people to see it and maybe find someone.
Group chat is back. I wanted to bring this up because these questions were sort of coming from inside the House, so to speak, and we were pointing out Rufo's tweet in particular because it was not just some flyby post of like, this guy is bad. It was a long explanation of why he thinks people should assess this. What do you think is happening?
This is the moment Trump's entire law enforcement protection apparatus begins to crumble. Patel was supposed to be the firewall. He was supposed to bury evidence, shield the president from investigation, and ensure that damaging information never reached prosecutors who might actually act on it. Instead, he spent today invoking the Fifth Amendment so aggressively and inappropriately.
It was a very preemptive social media post that made the FBI look very disorganized. I also just caught recently he screenshotted something from Fox News citing FBI sources. In a very professional situation, you yourself as the FBI don't need to cite a news organization citing sources from within your bureau.
Right.
You just say something yourself.
This issue of like, as he's come in, he's brought the talents that the administration has appreciated, right? The loyalty, the ability to communicate. But has he done things within the ranks that actually are creating real problems for investigations?
Yeah, and like one of the things that we see in other investigations about other things in past administrations is that
the judge overseeing the proceedings warned him directly about contempt of court and potential arrest. Let me walk you through exactly what happened because the details are devastating. Senator Chris Coons confronted Patel with execution warrants that the FBI director personally approved for the seizure of Venezuelan oil tankers. These warrants are directly tied to Trump's unauthorized Venezuela operation, the same operation that whistleblowers have exposed as an illegal raid conducted without congressional approval. Patel didn't just know about it. He actively participated by using FBI resources to support it through official law enforcement action. The recordings Democrats played during the hearing were even more damaging. Audio of Patel promising what he called zero-latency intelligence shielding to protect Trump. In bureaucratic language, that means making sure damaging information never reaches investigators, prosecutors, or congressional oversight committees. He was caught on tape describing exactly how he would use his position to obstruct justice on behalf of the president. More audio emerged of Patel ordering the firing of FBI agents who had raised concerns about document discrepancies related to January 6th and the classified documents case. These were not routine personnel decisions. These were purges designed to eliminate anyone inside the FBI who might expose the truth about how evidence was being handled, suppressed, or altered. Patel got rid of the people asking uncomfortable questions and replaced them with loyalists who would follow orders without question. The judge observing these proceedings, because this testimony connects to ongoing court cases involving Trump and his associates, made his position unmistakably clear. He signaled that Patel could face immediate arrest for contempt if his Fifth Amendment invocations continued in what he called an abusive pattern designed to obstruct rather than protect legitimate constitutional rights. Here is what you need to understand about that warning. Patel was invoking the Fifth on basic factual questions about his job duties and his communications with the White House, questions that have nothing to do with self-incrimination unless the honest answers would reveal crimes. He was using the Fifth as a blanket shield to avoid answering anything embarrassing or incriminating rather than protecting against genuine criminal exposure on specific questions. Courts do not tolerate that kind of abuse, and this judge made clear there would be serious consequences. Then there are the whistleblowers who have come forward in recent days, alleging that Patel buried evidence of the home and bribery scheme. An FBI sting operation captured $50,000 in cash changing hands for contractor kickbacks. According to multiple sources, the FBI director suppressed evidence of serious crimes committed by other administration officials because exposing those crimes would have damaged Trump politically and legally. That is obstruction of justice at the highest level of federal law enforcement imaginable. The person in charge of investigating crimes, actively hiding evidence of crimes committed by his allies and his boss. The Epstein files add another explosive dimension because Senate Democrats are demanding case files that Patel allegedly suppressed on direct orders from Trump himself. The suggestion is that information exists in those files that would be damaging to Trump, his associates, or his donors. Patel used his position as the nation's top law enforcement official to make sure that information never became public and never reached prosecutors who might act on it. When the FBI director suppresses criminal evidence on orders from the president, that is not law enforcement. That is a criminal conspiracy operating out of the nation's premier investigative agency. Trump's eruption on Truth Social defending Patel tells you everything about how panicked he is over this testimony. He called the Senate hearing a witch hunt and a disgrace. He demanded Republicans shut it down immediately. He threatened retribution against anyone who votes to hold Patel in contempt or refers him for criminal prosecution. But those threats are hollow now because Trump has no political capital left. His approval numbers are in freefall. His own party is fracturing. His former lawyers are testifying against him. And now his hand-picked FBI director is facing arrest for helping cover up his crimes. Let me dig deeper into the Venezuelan oil tanker warrants because this is the most direct connection between Patel and Trump's illegal operations. Senator Coons presented documents showing Patel personally signed FBI execution warrants for the seizure of tankers carrying sanctioned oil in international waters. These seizures were part of the broader Venezuela operation that the whistleblower exposed, the same operation where Trump watched drone feeds from Mar-a-Lago and issued orders without congressional authorization because he knew Congress would block the raid if they were informed. Patel was not just aware of the operation, he was actively using FBI resources to support it by seizing assets connected to it. The timing is particularly damning because these warrant signatures occurred after the operation had already generated significant legal concerns internally. Concerns about War Powers Act violations and potential war crimes were being raised by military lawyers and career officials who understood the legal implications. Patel signed the seizure warrants anyway, either knowing about those concerns and deliberately ignoring them to please Trump or deliberately avoiding learning about them so he could later claim ignorance. Either way, he used his position to further an illegal operation that serious people were warning constituted potential war crimes. The zero-latency intelligence shielding recordings reveal the true purpose of his tenure at the FBI. That phrase is intelligence community jargon for eliminating delays between gathering information and getting it to decision-makers. But Patel was using it to describe something completely different. Shielding Trump from damaging intelligence, making sure information about criminal exposure never reached prosecutors, investigators, or the public. He was promising to use the FBI's extraordinary capabilities not for law enforcement, but for obstruction of justice on behalf of the president. The agent firings connected to January 6 document discrepancies show how Patel weaponized personnel decisions to protect Trump from people inside the FBI who might expose the truth. Over 20 agents were fired for what Patel publicly claimed were George Floyd kneeling photos or social media posts. But the real reason appears to be that these agents had raised concerns about how January 6th evidence was being handled and whether documents were being suppressed or altered. Patel eliminated the people asking uncomfortable questions about evidence handling and replaced them with loyalists who would follow orders without question. The contradictions between Patel's current testimony and his previous sworn statements are creating serious perjury exposure. During his confirmation hearings, he made specific statements under oath about his knowledge of certain operations and his communications with the White House. Under questioning this week, he gave answers that directly contradict that earlier testimony in ways that cannot be reconciled. You cannot swear to one set of facts and then swear to contradictory facts without committing perjury. The Senate is building a referral for criminal prosecution based on these documented contradictions. The judge's warning about contempt arrest was not theatrics designed for media coverage. It reflected genuine judicial frustration with Patel's abuse of the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth protects against compelled self-incrimination, but it does not allow witnesses to refuse to answer any question they find inconvenient or embarrassing. Patel was invoking it on questions like, "What are your job responsibilities?" and "Have you communicated with the White House about ongoing investigations?" questions that do not implicate him in any crime, unless the honest answers would reveal criminal conduct. The judge interpreted the blanket invocations as evidence that Patel knows his honest answers would be incriminating, which is itself powerful evidence of guilt. The Epstein file suppression allegation is explosive because it suggests Patel was hiding evidence of crimes involving powerful people on direct orders from Trump. The Epstein files contain information about numerous high-profile individuals who may have been involved in sex trafficking of minors. If Trump ordered Patel to suppress those files and Patel complied, that is obstruction of justice in a case involving child sex trafficking, one of the most serious crimes imaginable. It does not matter whether Trump himself is in those files or whether he was protecting associates or donors. Suppressing criminal evidence on orders from the president is a crime regardless of motive. The whistleblowers alleging Patel buried home and bribery evidence connect this directly to broader administration corruption. The FBI sting that captured Homeman on tape accepting $50,000 for contractor kickbacks generated evidence that should have resulted in immediate prosecution. Instead, according to whistleblowers, Patel buried it. He made sure the evidence never reached prosecutors who would act on it. He protected a corrupt administration official by suppressing proof of crimes the FBI had gathered. That proves Patel was installed specifically to obstruct justice rather than enforce the law. Let me break down why this matters so much for Trump personally. Patel was his firewall, the one person controlling what evidence reached prosecutors and what got buried. That firewall is now collapsing completely as Patel faces criminal exposure that may force him to cooperate to save himself. The contempt arrest signal creates immediate pressure. Patel has a choice: continue protecting Trump and go to jail for contempt until he agrees to answer questions, or start cooperating now and provide evidence against Trump to avoid prosecution. Most people in that situation choose self-preservation over loyalty. If Patel flips, he can provide testimony about exactly what evidence was suppressed, what cover-ups were conducted, and what Trump personally knew and ordered. The Venezuelan warrants mean prosecutors can tie Patel directly to the illegal operation, already generating impeachment articles. He was not a passive observer. He was an active participant who used FBI resources to support unauthorized military action. The perjury referral adds another layer of pressure. Perjury carries serious prison time, years behind bars for each count. Combined with obstruction and conspiracy charges, Patel could be looking at decades in federal prison. That kind of exposure motivates cooperation from almost anyone. The Epstein file suppression is politically toxic in ways other scandals are not because of the nature of the underlying crimes. Child sex trafficking evidence being buried on orders from the president is something even the most loyal Trump defenders will struggle to explain to constituents. It creates pressure from the public that transcends normal partisan divisions. The implications for Trump's remaining defenses are devastating. If Patel cooperates, prosecutors learn everything about the evidence suppression that has been protecting Trump. If Patel is arrested for contempt, Trump loses his FBI shield anyway, and someone else takes over who may not be as loyal. If Patel is prosecuted, the trial generates more evidence damaging to Trump through discovery and witness examination. Every possible outcome removes protection Trump was counting on. Republican senators who were reluctant to break with Trump now face impossible choices. Supporting Patel after this testimony means supporting someone who allegedly suppressed evidence of child sex trafficking and bribery and participated in illegal military operations. That is not something they can explain to voters in any election, no matter how they spin it. More senators will break with Trump because association with this scandal is political suicide. The midterm implications grow more catastrophic with each revelation. Voters are watching Trump's FBI director face arrest signals for helping cover up crimes at the president's direction. They are watching evidence of institutional corruption at the highest levels of law enforcement. They are watching Trump defend the person who allegedly buried child sex trafficking evidence. No Republican candidate wants to be associated with that heading into an election. For Trump personally, losing Patel means losing control of what evidence reaches prosecutors and Congress and the public. The firewall is down. The protection is gone. The evidence Patel was suppressing will now flow to the people who can act on it. Every crime Trump committed that Patel was hiding is about to be exposed. Keep watching because the Patel situation is developing rapidly and could result in arrest within days if he continues refusing to answer questions. The collapse of Trump's law enforcement protection apparatus is accelerating faster than anyone expected. The firewall is down and the flood of evidence is about to